Alright, so in this one, I am going to tell you every singular thing you need to do before Legends Fest begins. For Legends Fest, this is an actual guide for new players, old players. I feel like this will be very useful for if you're looking to what to farm for equipment, if you're looking for what to do for these new units, you're looking how to even get some CC for these new units that are about to come out for this big celebration. Legends Fest yearly does have a big power creep. You can look last year where we had GV come out, you had OG 3Ku as a very top tier unit, and then boom, bro dropped tier 1 because Legends Fest dropped. So you're looking for units that are clearly going to come out as very top tier units, and with that you want to be ready for them to come out, whether it be your bench wise, whether it be your equipment wise, whether it be everything. So this here will be a summary what you can do, what you will need to do, and what you should be doing right now before everything drops. So let's just get into it. So first thing I feel like is very important, that's actually understated, undervalued, and not even touched on enough in videos, that really needs to be touched on more, is equipment. So we can obviously go into a few shops here, but I'll go to the exchange shop, and obviously there's going to be situations where you can't do what I'm doing here, or vice versa. I can't do what you're doing, or any situation like that. So this situation you might not be able to do, and that's okay. Let's just explaining all the methodologies and ways to do these situations. So Z medals. You might have Z medals, you might not. You might have some 14-star units of like hero units, then you have extra Z medals, and you get them when you have 14-star units. If you don't have them, that's okay. But if you do have them, there are equipment here that you can go through and get. And with the value of equipment, they are from past seasons. So let's say this equipment here, a little bit of value, not the most valuable. It's probably like a 4th, 5th option type of equipment, but it's definitely good value because it goes for a general tag, and it has at least some damage inflicted, just normal strike, and then base health. Very solid equipment. Nothing too crazy, nothing too bad, but it's very baseline things. You keep going through, it's the same concept that's going through, especially this equipment, Righteous Saiyan. This equipment is probably the single-handedly best solo equipment in the game, and not because of how good it is individually, but the availability it is and the priority it can have for units. Because I can run this on Ultra Blue Kaioken Goku, right? I can run Double Blast and then ult damage, or if I want Double Blast and Health Restore, that works for Ultra Blue Kaioken Goku. If I want this for, I don't know, Ultra Gogeta, because this is just a Saiyan-based equip, I can run Double Strike, Ultimate damage, or Double Strike, Special Move damage, because he draws a lot of blue cards, he draws double ultimates. It's my discretion what I want for that. So this equipment, again, if you have Z medals, this is a very good equipment to farm. We don't know what the tag 4s, the Goku Frieza, the, whatever comes out will be, and what, there'll be Strike Blast or something, but just pre-farming of like, okay, here's one Strike-based slot for like your LF4Ku, or here's one Blast-based slot for your like, Ultra Kaioken Blue Goku. Having these just farmed up and ready to go are very generalized things you need to do. Now these are both Saiyan equips, and not really on purpose, but they are both Saiyan equips. Here's an equipment that can be very useful to today. This awakens actually, but the base of it really isn't that bad. Special damage, ult damage, base health, good for Super Saiyan 4 characters. Something more generalized as well. Key recovery, special damage, blast attack, good for any range type in the entire game. This is like a 3rd, 4th, 5th option. You don't need number 1 option equips. You don't. If you want them, good, go for it, great. Obviously love having the best of the best, but you don't need the number 1 equips. You can have this 4th, 5th, 6th option. You don't need the best of the best because you're not going for the best of the best situations. This equip here, special damage, strike, defense, base health. Again, if you don't own the Z medals for this shop, that's okay. I will give you some ulterior options for other equipment, but those are good equipments. Those are 4th, 5th, 3rd options, sometimes even priority options, right? There's going to be more shops, more ways to do this, more ways to go through this. Now here, another shop, the equipment metal shop. This, everybody can access to. Obviously, it will be a little bit more, less restrictive than a Z medals, but more restrictive than other shops, right? This one, you would play Treasure Battle. You get the equipment medals from doing Treasure Battle or from the past where you could exchange to get them. And this is the same concept. I wouldn't say it's the same exact thing, but it's the same concept where you are going through, you're trying to buy equipments. Obviously, you do have options here. And I'm not going to touch on every single great option that's going to be like right now. But I will just go through and I can point out this is a pretty good option. This is an EX equipment, this is EX equipment, this is EX equipment, EX equipment, EX equipment. Pretty good option. This is a priority option for some units. Blast defense, special damage, ult damage, and strike attack. If we do have a regen unit, melee type, okay, crazy thought. What if Omega Shenron comes out? He's a regen unit. What if he's melee type? This would be a priority option for him because it's a very good option even for like LF Cell today. And that's an unawakened equip. even further moving on, you got some pure equips here. Obviously, you're going to get some Sun family buffs with it being Legends Fest, with it being Tag 4 seemingly, if not at least a Super Saiyan 4 Goku coming out. So you want a pure equip here. Again, just going through the process. You want equipments that are going to actually matter, not needing to be these best option equipments, but needing to be at least good, solid equipments. And then the last shop I'll touch on real quickly, which is the most important. And if you have the resources, highly recommend you actually care for this shop and look at this shop, is the Zenkai USTR shop. I personally don't look at this shop and I think of USTR characters for the Zenkai stuff. I just think of equipment, erasers. That's what I think of. So, if we're thinking that same mentality, this new equipment, this just came out, the Awakened variant of it, literally today. This is insanity. Obviously, it's just Super Saiyan 4s prior, now Super Saiyan 4 melee type, so this is meant for LF4Ku, maybe the Tag 4s with their melee type, etc., etc., etc. This is an equipment I highly endorse farming, because strike attack, special damage, strike attack, ult damage, base health. You want a lot of ult damage, you want a lot of special damage, especially if it's a tag unit. They have a lot of blue card stuff. We have that ultimate / awakened arts card leak that came out, and base health, obviously a lot of units heal and sustain themselves, so having a healing, situation with base health is very good for you. A lot of awakened equipments flow in that same boat. This, I would say this one here is very broad, actually. It's just GT. Look what it's giving. 38% strike. You can look at plat equips, like the GT plat. That's also for GT characters. Gives 35% strike, and it has pretty much useless 2 other slots. This also gives special move damage. This is another equipment that I would highly endorse farming. You look at the equipment that is very good for the tag you're going to care for. Well, if it's going to be GT for this Legends Fest, you're looking at this equipment. You're looking at this equipment, because you're going to get Super Saiyan 4s, going to get GT characters. See how they all go in the same boat there? Now, I will say, GT is a little bit lacking on their pure equipment. There's not really many that actually go for GT, and if they are very old, and you just can't get them, right? Most GT pures you just can't get that are 10% pures. 15% ones, I mean, there's like per Saiyan battle member, there's like per Sun family, then you mesh them on different teams, but like per GT, that doesn't really exist. But again, you could look at these Awakened equipments here with the Super Saiyan 4 characters on them, because, I mean, 3 of them have Super Saiyan 4 characters on them. At least these two, this one rather, and this one. Highly endorse. This one, it's good, it's fine. The unawakened version is honestly good enough to like run, so I wouldn't even mind or matter it. This is a defense-based equip, which it's okay, but like you just want offense, bro. Like you don't want some defense shit. And if there's other equipments for other tags, let's say you're trying to think of USS coming out, right? And you're really going through, you're like, huh, what do I farm up for USS characters? Well, here's an equipment that could be pretty good for you. Blast defense, strike defense, special damage, ult damage. This right now is optimal for Mr. LF Jiren. This is meant for LF Jiren, and this is equipment you run on him. Another equipment right next to it here, this one here, blast attack, blast attack. This is for Rival Universe range type characters. And obviously, if we're going to get USS buffs, you would think we're going to get, okay, maybe a bad guy from USS. Well, bad guy. We're going to get characters that are not the protagonist, so their Rival Universe may be an LF hit, 1% hit, maybe a 1% Khalifa and KO that transform or revive into Kefla. You know, we could get these things. USS does seem to be a theme that could be happening as well, because there is a leak of, what is it? Whis holding the Universe 7 flag. What else could that be indicative of? It would probably be USS. So having USS base equips being farmed, there's also the Explosive Clash that I believe is in the Equipment Metal shop, the easier shop to access. That is something you can go through as well. And then just to touch on even one more thing on equipments here, because you could just simply look. If you want to like prioritize specific tags, I can give you a quick rundown of what's good and what's not good for equipment of specific things here. Can I go to equipment collection? Hello, how do I even do this? This one I don't know how to go to equip. Yeah, okay, archive. So I could simply just go through here, and I could go, okay, what's the prerequisite? Let's say prerequisite is going to be, I don't know, regen. Sure, let's go through regen equips. What's good enough to run here and farm up and worth, your time? I already pointed out some, but here's one good enough to farm. I'm just gonna point them out very quickly. So if you guys want to write this shit down, go for it. This right here is a pure equip. It's actually a raw pure, so there's a difference. Right now, you have pure equips that are you have a high base for them to be full effectiveness. This equipment here specifically, and I believe some plat equips, LF Kid Boo's plat equip last slot, is similar to this, where the last slot is raw damage. So this isn't 21% if your pure and base are good enough and, in tandem with one another. No, this is 21% blast. That's it. There's no in between there. So you have 90% on entry, let's say. Boom, you have 21% more. Kid Buu has 30% on his plat equip. Boom, you have 30% more to your raw blast damage inflicted. These equipments are a little bit different sometimes. It's just you have to test it and figure it out. The game doesn't tell you that, unfortunately. It actually tells you pure equips are worse equips, which don't believe the game. The game is dumb. I mean, it's just reality. So just go off the merit of people actually know what they're talking about. I would say maybe I'm part of that group. That equip there, very good farm. Any pure equip though, like this is a regen based pure equip. So farm this up, 18%. Obviously could be very useful. Again, we could get Omega Shenron. And then even more so, this equipment would be okay to farm, strike, defense, base health, and then some, defense there if you do need it. Equipment is important. Make sure you actually care for it and farm it up and really prioritize it. These are things you need to do. I went over the equipments that I feel would be justifiably needed for the next coming days with some GT stuff, with some just basic shit that you could run. Obviously, Righteous Saiyan being a very basic shit you can run. You can kind of tell what equipment's good or bad. If I'm going to look at equipment and I'm just going to point out what's bad, here's a bad equipment. This gives blast defense, blast defense. There's no blast units in the meta. Who cares? Name me a blast unit in the meta. Can you? You can't. Critical's useless. You can't get criticals half time, and units are lower in critical rate, and having that be lowered, you don't get criticals as often. And then fishing for a 0.1% or 0.3% chance of getting a critical by upping your base critical, well, that's just ignorant. It's just dumb. So there's no point. This giving triple blast defense in a strike-based meta, you would think this equipment is pretty damn useless. But if I look at another equipment here, let's say for the sake of it all, this one, I don't even know what it fully is. Okay, it might be all defensive, but at least it's some strike defense, so I could justify this equipment farming over the other equipment farming. You see what I mean? You have to understand what's going on, what's happening in the meta, and what's being affected and who's being affected. This equipment here, I believe does extra damage against Saiyans. Yeah, per 40 timer counts. Well, Saiyans really aren't meta right now. Right now as we stand. Maybe in the future, with these units coming out, they will be more meta, this equipment gains more value, but right now, this equipment lowered in value. You see how the equipment changes when the meta shifts, things change over. For example, actually, one example I can point out very quickly here would be, I can actually just go to my equipment, it'll be easier to find it. This one equipment gained a lot of value, loses a lot of value, just loses and gains value over time, very drastically, and you'll see that with units as well. This one right here, blast attack, base health, damage to hybrids. You have a lot of strike defense units oriented running around right now. You have a lot of hybrids running around right now, and base health is always just a plus for you. So this right now is a very good equipment to run, let's say, on whoever is able to run it. A Saiyan, Ultra Blue Kaioken, let's say, any blast-based character, because it's just upping their blast damage even more so, or any Android 17, which, I mean, it's just a weird prerequisite. But, yes, any Android 17 as well. You see how they change during the metas of what's commonalities and what's not. You have to understand that that's a thing and that's going to be happening very frequently. If you don't understand that, you're going to farm the wrong equipment and you're going to have the wrong equipment during the wrong meta. You're just going to be doing worse. You want to do well, right? So you want to farm the good stuff. And that's what I'm trying to help you with here. But that's a very, very generalized summary. If you want depth, join my server, my Discord server. We know what we're talking about. I'll be there talking about it, during a lot of Legends Fest. What equipment you want to run, what you want to run for this, what's the best setup for this, what's this. Obviously, you'll debate it, we'll change it, blah, blah, blah. But you need to be able to do that. You need to have that discourse to even know what's good, what's bad. If you're just kind of just throwing shit at the air, well, maybe it won't stick. Maybe it will, but most of the times it probably won't stick and it'll be changed anyways. So you got to adjust and accordingly go with something else. Now, next thing I will touch on is your units. What do you necessarily need right now prior to these units coming out for you to be prepared? I would say you need to have stars. Now, I'm not saying you need red stars. I'm not going to say all this. I mean, I would recommend getting red stars. It's not something you can probably control very often, but what I recommend right now is your units stars that are newer. So let's say, again, for the sake of everything, this will be a GT buff. Now, I'm not saying you need a 14-star Pan, but I am saying if you're hypothetically thinking of a team with Pan, you have a 7-star Pan, because that's not very hard to get. Pan was on a high Z-Power banner, she came as a free character, you could Z-Power her up. These are a lot of options you could have done. Let's have a 7-star Pan. That's great. But let's see, at a 3-star Pan, you would want to get her to at least 6 stars for her Z ability, if not running her on a team. The threshold of stars, I would say, thank you for the honking, I appreciate you, you're very kind out there. Threshold for stars, I would say, is 6 stars on bench, good enough. 9 stars in usage, good enough. Now, this is going for non-LFs at this point. Ultras, you don't have to worry about that. We're not getting an Ultra till the last part of Legends Fest, most likely, as we did last year with Mr. Gogeta. So 9 stars is the threshold you want. Now, what units do you want to prioritize to these star amounts that are at least newer, that you might own? Maybe you don't own them, maybe they'll come back, who knows, right? Reminder, the banners seem to be GT and USS based, so we're going off that mindset. So, also understand that leader slot does exist, and these are things you can all, well, follow through with if you just at least star up your units that can be worth starring up. I don't recommend wasting all your Z power on these units right now, but if they're close to that, like, throw some at them. Like, it won't hurt to throw some at them. Units I'd recommend, though, Pan, get her started up. Very good Z ability, 6 stars. It gives HP and critical. It's about 20%, so it's the baseline stuff that you're going for on most units there. An individual good unit that does well in PvP. That's kind of what you want for a good bench and a good individual unit. Tapion, his, usage is not very high, but he does give double defense and then strike attack. If you want a leader slotted character or something similar to that vein, okay, get another Z ability there. That's pretty solid for you. Free-to-play characters, I mean, these two should be 14-star for you. Like, I wouldn't say they're ideal, I wouldn't say they're great, but they should be 14-star for you here. They're definitely okay enough to run, but just have them 14 stars. I'm pretty sure both of them just left on their event, or at least Goku did. But at least have, like, 14 stars. Hopefully you do. I don't see them returning soon, but yeah, hopefully you just had them done, ready to go. I have, like, a burp, and I can't burp. It's very tough. Even more so, units that really, like, look how old these units are. This is already a year old. Like, right here, we're already touching on a year old. So all these units in between are just, like, units you have to go through when looking at the stars. Goku Black, I wouldn't care much for. In all reality, it really isn't going to be anybody that's that newer, huh? I'm looking at these characters, and I don't really see a need to have most players have most of these characters start up. Like, you don't need LF Cell start up. You don't need 8 Vegeta. You don't need Birdku. You don't need Red Piccolo. You don't need most of these characters start up, actually, for, like, a bench purposes. So I guess there's other units I could touch on here. It would be, where is he? Blue Namek Goku. He gives double attack, then he's Zenkai buffing Blue Saiyans. It's just very broad, very nice for you there. Bench-wise, let's say it's GT, the EX GT Kid Goku, that purple one. Let's say you want to run hybrids with the new Tag 4s or Sun Family. Want to have Kakarot Goku done. Want to have, again, Pan done, so you can leader slot Pan for the HP bench, because Sun Family doesn't have an HP bench, so you leader slot Pan for that. Kind of workaround situation there. I'm not going to say you need to have all these LFs high stars. You don't need to. Again, it helps. It's easier. It's just, better for you, obviously. But you don't need them high stars. If I'm going to recommend some LFs that you could star up that aren't that new, it would be LF4Ku. I know a lot of people don't have him at 14 stars, don't have him at 7 stars even to Zenkai him, but he does give, 58% to strike attack at 6 stars, or something like that, like 53, around 50% at 6 stars to GT Saiyans. Again, GT-based celebration here, it seems. You'd want him to be there, if not for bench, just to actually bring in, once you do get him to 7 stars, he is a very good LF Zenkai, probably the best Zenkai in the game right now. But you see the kind of premise alongside this. You look for the HP bench, you look at the very good broad stuff that works for you, because Namek Goku's like a very good bench 24/7 for a lot of teams. A similar unit to that would be Red Rose for like a villain side, where he's giving Red PO Zenkai buff, and then boom, strike attack defense. Just have him at 6 stars. I believe he gives 30% strike attack defense at 6 stars, and then he's giving the Zenkai buff, if he's at 7 stars, to Red PO. What if Omega becomes a Red PO unit? And then, boom, you have the Zenkai buff, and you have a good Z ability for him. You see how these all go in tandem together, where you want things specific to those mannerisms of those new units that might be coming out. Now, obviously, with the units coming out, we will see what you should really prioritize, but this is, again, just a baseline thing. You want broad stuff that works for a lot of units. I mean, a very good example here would be Purple 21. She's HP to, I believe, Android or Regen, and then she Zenkai buffs Purple Regen, I do believe. Purple Android. Whatever it is. She's Zenkai buffs LF Cell, essentially. And the premise behind that would be, okay, you always want an HP bench, because you just want to have good sustainability, and allow your units that heal 24/7, because every unit heals 24/7, it feels like these days. An opportunity to have more of that durability with them, and on top of the Zenkai buff, it gives even more durability to LF Cell, so you'd always bench purple 21 in that situation. Similar to how you always bench Namek Goku if you have, let's say, Ultra Gogeta or VB or most Blue Saiyans, just because that extra oomph really can't be a negative to you. It's only a positive, and then you get to double Purya units because they have double Zenkai buff, then you get to do this, and you get to do a lot more things for those units to be a better unit in the circumstance of PvP. But yeah, start up your bench units. Again, there's not many that's like that crucial, but like there will be ones that are just older units that will be benches for your team. I'm not saying have a full-fledged team ready to go right now, but I am saying start up your benches to at least 6 stars, have them be worth running if they are good enough to run, and have them at least be worth benching for, the sake of anything else here. It's worth doing. It'll be important. You will need to bench older units in this game. You still do bench older units in this game, so having these things ready to go is pretty important. I will touch on the EX units. There are 50%, 40% EX units that... Again, 40%, 50% on their Z ability. I think it's 6 stars, they give 40%, and 14 stars, they give 50%. So units like, where the hell are they? EX Broly gives 50% at 14 stars to strike attack and blast defense to yellow or blue. That's very good. Not ideal because it's blast defense, but it's very good. Red Devore right there gives 50% to red or green. Blast attack and defense. Again, you have units similar in that vein. Units like that, you want to get them at least 6 stars. EX14, a very good option, who is blue or purple, strike, attack, and defense, 50% at 14 stars. Fat Boo, similar thing, where he is double defense at 14 stars to blue and purple, 50%. Like, these are high numbers. You want the high numbers, obviously. So having, like, LF4Ku at 4 stars, or 4 stars, LF4Ku at 6 stars is definitely worth having him there. And if he's not going to Zenkai buff your team or, be used in battle, he's still giving about 50%, and that's big number. Like, Namek Goku gives 35%, but he's Zenkai buffs. That's why he's ideal bench. You see why LF4Ku's ideal bench? He's Zenkai buffs, and now also gives over 50%. So it's like, the value is astronomical for units like that, especially HP bench units, but even just raw strike attack base, strike defense base, blast attack base, blast defense base. Prioritize these units that give high percentages, which, especially the EXs, they do that. I'm not going to pull them that often, but if you pull them, very good options. Then the last thing I feel to need to touch on is CC. Now, I'm not going to say you could get a lot of CC right now. There actually was it was infinite technically, CC methodology you could go through with the Panenko stuff, but that's gone. You can't do that anymore, and I'm going to touch on that further. But right now, how can you get some CC? Just quickly, do the story, do the missions. I know that's like a drag, and you don't want to do that, but like that's the way to get CC right now. If there's other methods, the LBR happened. I mean, you could have got 300 CC there. I actually could have got it, and I didn't because I'm dumb, and I went over the cap. Great. From exchange shops, you can't exchange over 20k CC. But you do have co-op, which is daily. Could get CC from here. You could exchange it over, a couple CC. That's what? 4,500 for 300 CC. It's a similar vein to the other stuff, but there's not many methods to get CC. I would just say wait for the festival to begin. There probably will be some methods to get over like 20k within the month, and 20k is not the worst amount. It's not the highest amount, but it's not the worst amount that you could get ever. I don't expect a lot of CC to be given out besides from raids. If you guys haven't done the gauntlets, I'm sure the gauntlets give, I don't know, 700 CC. It says it right there, actually. So that's 1400 CC if you didn't finish your gauntlets. Yeah, I didn't even finish my gauntlets yet, but that's because I summoned for these units. USTR, it just reset. I do recommend doing this. Again, we went over that in the beginning. Equipments are very important, very crucial. They actually change a lot more than you would think. Not as much as Z abilities on units and Zenkai buffs, but pretty close in actual comparison. Again, if you guys want to get more CC, though, the methods are very far and few between. Like, okay, I don't have a gold star here, so that means I'm missing some stages that have CC in them. Great, like, I guess, but I just don't recommend you attempting to farm CC 24/7. It's just not something you can do. We are just a few days out, so I would just say hold that situation where it is and let it go. If you can't get CC, you can't get CC. I'm sure there's some missions here I could touch on that could get you some CC. There's the burp I wanted. There's some missions you get CC from. Like right here, I think I just got 1,000 CC because I did all the missions. If you didn't do these missions, you can't get the 1,000 CC, but like, see what I mean? It just kind of comes and goes far and few between. If you have the battle pass and you bought the premium, that could be a method for it. But just don't expect a lot of CC until the celebration begins. There's not much CC you can just get right now. Insta CC. There's no way to do that right now. Unfortunately, a situation you guys are in and myself is in, because I'd love to have more CC, but just kind of can't do it. Again, story is probably your best method for it. But yeah, I hope this baseline guide for new and old players helped you guys. I would say just wait a little bit. Like, understand that this is meant for the beginning of Fests, and that not everything is fully like concrete. So let's say I put the Righteous Saiyan, I'm like, okay, this is very good equipment, it's going to be on a lot of units. That's true, but will it be on the best units? We don't know. So take this with a grain of salt, because we don't know everything about the festival. These are assumptions, presumptions to what could be coming. What should be coming, what we're all expecting to come, USS GT-based buffs. If not at least GT-based buffs. I mean, look right here, bro. Like, look right here, bro. Look right here, bro. Like, this shit's in our face. Just GT stuff all around. But, yeah, I would say the equipment stuff, definitely important. The bench stuff, definitely important. Again, you still will be benching old units, so Z-power up your older units. Don't waste all your Z-power, but Z-power them up. And CC, sorry, there's just nothing I could say about it. I wish you'd get more CC, but you really can't right now. Let me know if this guide helped you guys, and I'll see you guys in the next one.